Today we're talking all about my winter knitting plans. I have really done the due diligence to narrow down this list, and I've found yarn, I've found the exact patterns, and I'm really going to try to accomplish knitting all of these before that first day of spring. With winter knitting plans, I've also been thinking about my New Year's resolutions and how I'm going to set up my time to ensure that I'm knitting more, but also that I'm actually moving my body and taking care of myself. And for that, I'm so thankful that Yesoul Fitness is sponsoring today's video. They so kindly gifted me their G1M bike, and I have loved having it. It is such a beautiful piece, and it was so easy to set up and to use. My husband has been down using it almost every single day, and what I love about it is it's so easy to integrate with other apps. So if you have a favorite fitness app like maybe Apple Fitness or the Peloton app, it's really easy to plug in and use those different cycling classes with it. Yesoul also has an app that you can use that works great with it as well. For the price, you really can't beat it. It's such a gorgeous piece, and I love the way it looks with all the rest of my exercise equipment, and I really can't wait to make it a part of my routine as I go throughout 2025. I will have everything for this bike linked down below. Thank you again to Yesoul Fitness for sponsoring today's video. For this winter, I have 4 garments and 3 accessories planned, and I thought we could get started with the most fun, of course, the sweaters. To get started, the first thing that I'll be swatching and getting excited to knit this winter is the Road Sweater by Ozetta. I'm going to be knitting this out of a Cascade 220 yarn, which is a worsted weight, and I've actually never used Cascade 220, so I'm so excited to use it and see if it lives up to the hype. Cascade 220 is a 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and I have it in this really gorgeous heathered teal shade. It's so beautiful. It's definitely very squishy. I've been knitting with the Knit Picks palette, which is also a Peruvian Highland wool, and I would say this feels a little bit softer, just feels wise. You know, I haven't obviously knit with it yet. It does feel a little bit softer, though I am really enjoying the Knit Picks palette as well. So I'm excited to knit this up and kind of compare it as well, because they're both a lower price point, more affordable yarn. So I'm so excited to make this. The pattern itself is a mock neck with a drop shoulder. It's definitely a more oversized look and feel, and it features some 2x2 rib and is worked top down and in the round. So I think that this is just going to be a really fun knit, something that's going to have some little bit of details. Like I know there's a little bit of a garter ridge on the back that just looks so fun, and then a lot of it is stockinette. So I'm excited to have something in this worsted weight that I'm feeling like will knit up a little bit faster, will create some warmth with that mock neck without being a full turtleneck, and then it's just like a fun color to bring some joy and brightness to a January month. And then it's also a color that will look so beautiful as we go into spring. So that is the Road Sweater by Ozetta. The next garment that I'll be working on is the Eva Cardigan by Petite Knit, and I will be knitting it out of Sandnes Garn Pure Gin. This, I would say, is a very dark and rich navy. I loved the way it looked on Petite Knit with her coloring, and I have a little bit of similar coloring, not super similar, but you know, both blonde hair, lighter skin tones. And so I love the way that this looked on her, and I've been looking to add a navy piece to my collection. I've never knit something in as dark as a navy, so that will be an adventure. But I wanted to knit the Eva Cardigan because actually a viewer gifted me the pattern. Thank you so much. And I also have another follower that she made an Eva cardigan for the Fall Feels Knit Along, and it looked so beautiful on her. I saw so many people knitting this fall, and it looked like a very staple cardigan. It's an oversized, again has a 2x2 rib. If you can't tell, I love a 2x2 rib. And actually, I've never knit a cardigan before. So I just hit my 1 year of knitting in August, and I really, you know, there was always like so much in the discourse around knitting with cardigans, we're like, oh, you're gonna have to purl so much. It's harder when you have to seam things, or just, you always just hear little things in the knitting community that make you scared to do certain things. And so I had just kind of put off cardigans. I actually don't even have a cardigan in my wardrobe that I currently wear. So it's not something that I feel like I'm missing either, because I don't have a store-bought one that I'm wearing. So I just haven't really thought about it. However, I do think it's something that would be so nice, and I see the value in it. It's a really versatile piece that you can wear open. It's easy to take on and off when you go into places. I get it. I get why a cardigan exists. I have yet to make one. And so I'm excited to cast this one on. Again, majority of it is in stockinette, but there are things that I'm going to do to make this a little bit more fun. I'm going to be steeking this, actually. My friend Courtney, she's on TikTok as Court Knit. She talks a ton about steeking, and I've just seen her do it multiple times with ease, and she's given me the confidence to try it out for myself. So I'm really excited to do that. And I know I looked through the projects on the page on Ravelry, and there's a couple of other people as well who have steeked this particular one. So I'm, it's a little overzealous to kind of be steeking my very first cardigan and kind of doing both at once, but if anything, it'll be good for the podcast. It'll be good for you guys to see. And I'm excited to, do and learn all of the process of the shaping of the back, and then kind of take it into my own hands and learn some of that steek as well. The only thing that I don't have yet for this cardigan is buttons. So I will be on the hunt for some buttons. If you have any ideas of what would look good with this deep dark navy, let me know, because I will need to be shopping for it. Next, I have the Tulip Loop Vest by Other Loops, and I love all of these designs that she has been making with this like tulip loop design. Majority of them have this really cool back feature where it kind of comes down to a point. And so that really drew me in first. I'm a little bit sad because this vest version doesn't have that exact sort of point in the back. However, the vest has such beautiful cables that it still drew me in to make it. I'm going to be knitting up this vest in a sort of gray color, and I'm going to be holding two yarns together. One is the Roma Garn, it's their DK weight, and this is a 100% Norwegian wool. And I'm also going to be holding it with Knitting for Olive's soft silk mohair, and this is in a beautiful gray color called Rainy Day. And I think that they are just going to work up so beautifully together, and this Norwegian wool with the mohair is going to stand out so beautifully on those cables. If you haven't noticed so far, I'm still obviously knitting with color with this teal, but then I have a couple of other neutrals thrown in here with the navy and the gray, just to bring a little bit more of basic pieces into my knitting as well. I knit with a ton of color last year, and so I'm wanting to still knit with beautiful color, but I'm also wanting to incorporate some more basic pieces so that I have a little bit more of just a balanced wardrobe. So I'm really, really excited for this cabled vest. With it being the DK yarn plus the mohair, it's going to work up to an Aran weight, and so I'm hoping it goes a little bit faster, and it's just going to be like a nice bulky piece for winter, and I think it's going to be so beautiful. Lastly, for my garments for winter, the fourth one is actually going to be a stranded colorwork sweater, I think. So my friends and I were going to be doing a knit along, and we all submitted our pattern ideas, and we're actually all voting on them this weekend, and we're gonna finish by Sunday. But what's fun about this is whatever we decide, We're going shopping to Wool & Co. in February, so my plans are that whatever we pick, I'm going to get to shop for the yarn with my friends and pick out something special. So if it is color work, I'll be able to like really easily pair together colors. And if it ends up being something that's not color work, that is maybe like a cabled or a textured, I'll still be able to go and like touch and feel all of the yarn. So stay tuned for garment number 4. It's a mystery right now. I personally submitted the Norma sweater. I would love to make that, but I'm also open to another idea by my friends. It's been so fun to see, like, as knitters, when multiple people are wearing the same garment and they chose different colors and whatever. It's so fun to see them all work together. So I'm excited to see what we select. Essentially, my 4th garment is right now in their hands. Now moving on to accessories. I did tell you the first thing I'm going to be swatching and knitting up is that beautiful teal Rhodes sweater. And I think alongside of it, I need to cast this on too, to just be like my fun in the round, gorgeous whip. This is gonna maybe be something that I can bring in my purse, although it might grow rather rapidly. This is Laying Cloud in their merino extra fine superwash yarn, and it is a bulky weight and so squishy. I don't believe this is a blown yarn, though I'll have to check for you all. I think it's just an unplied yarn, but it is a color changing, like a self-striping. And I have really wanted to make the Berlin scarf by Suzanne Mueller. It's just such a classic, but I kind of wanted to put my spin on it, of course. And I also love the look of these striped sweaters using this Laying Cloud. So I thought it would just be like a fun incorporation. I had been looking at different bulky yarns to use in it, and I ended up finding this one, and I just love the idea of like a colorful scarf in the winter to dress up. Like, I have a lot of really neutral like black coats, so a fun accessory like this. I also have just been loving like wearing a plain long sleeve shirt and like wrapping a scarf around me when I'm in the office, similar to how I wear my shawls. So I love the idea of like taking this around with me as I'm just wearing like a simple plain long sleeve as well. But this yarn in particular, I loved that it was a little bit more neutral. Some of the Laying Cloud yarns are gorgeous, so they're a little bit more loud. So this was like the most neutral one in colors that I felt like would be flattering to me, and I'm excited to work this up and to see how I love it and also how fast it goes, because it is in this bulky weight yarn. The next accessory that I have is actually just a plain triangle garter wrap out of this gorgeous farm yarn that I got. This is a DK weight yarn. It's actually a lamb's wool in the color espresso. And why I want to use this is kind of similar thoughts to how I was feeling earlier in the video, where I would love a shawl in a little bit more of a neutral color. I have I have 2 shawls that I've made that are like super bright colors, and then I have a cowl that I've made that's also kind of loud. So I love the idea of like this chocolatey dark espresso yarn that could just really go with anything. I think what you're seeing here in my winter plans is I'm trying to fill in some more gaps and have just some more versatile pieces. I also love the thought of this just being another garter sort of shawl that I can make. I loved making the last shawl that I made that had some garter features in it because it was so mindless. And I honestly feel like I know that triangle garter wrap pattern is free, but based off what I have from Andrea Mowry in that last pattern, totally feel like I have the tools and could just cast this on, increase my way out, and love the garter squishy beautiful shawl that I would make. So yeah, this I feel like is just going to be a staple. Like as I said earlier in the video, I just passed my 1 year of knitting, and I still need like those staples, and I still get excited about maybe more simple projects. I'm not at the point yet where like I only need texture or I only need color work to excite me, I still get excited by maybe what you would call basic knitting. So I hope that's okay with you guys, because I still think this is going to be such a gorgeous piece. This is that beautiful farm yarn, and it kind of reminds me, I'm watching Outlander right now, it kind of reminds me like to have a garter shawl in this beautiful 100% wool. Just reminds me of something that Claire would have worn, so kind of makes me happy. Another accessory that I have, I'm sorry, I think I actually have 4 accessories. I missed another yarn ball here. This one I had to hand wind because it was misbehaving when I was trying to wind it. But this is the beautiful Road to China yarn, again in a gorgeous teal color. You can see what my absolute favorite color is this season. But I'm going to be making the penny gloves by Petite Knit. Sometimes my hands get cold when I'm working inside, so I really want something that's going to be a really quick knit and easy to wear inside. I will say I'm not sure how this one's going to go. This yarn can be a little bit more silky, slinky, so I think I might have to knit it at a little bit of a tighter gauge to just give it a little bit more of structural integrity. If I still feel like it's too flimsy, I might need to go out and get a mohair to hold with it. This is just something that I noticed thus far. I did already cast it on and it was too open of a gauge. So I'm gonna try again, maybe going down a needle size first before I try anything else and see how that goes for me. But I think they're just gonna be like beautiful, easy. I would call them a little bit more of like an indoor sort of fingerless mitt, or something that you wear when it's not super, super cold out. So that is that. And then lastly, I have for you the only thing that is on the needles so far, and that is a DK weight sock. So this is kind of exciting. It's my first time ever knitting a sock in a DK weight, and I'm really trying to do my due diligence with this one, where I am like really trying to get everything accurate to make sure I really like wearing them. So I'm using the Crazy Sock Ladies DK vanilla sock pattern, and I first tried like the actual measurement for my foot, tried the 46 stitches, did not work. I went back and tried the first size, which is 40 stitches, did not work. So I just landed on 44 stitches, and I'm excited to get going on these. I think this is going to be a really fun, gorgeous yarn in the way that it is going to self-stripe. I actually can't remember the name of this, so I'll have everything up on the screen. But it's fun that it has like blues, yellows, oranges, some green, and I love using these to see how the pattern is going to come out with my personal gauge. It's always fun to see. But I kind of like the idea of a DK weight sock in that it knits up faster. I personally don't really wear my hand knit socks with my regular shoes. I don't know if I'm just like still scared to wear them or what it is, but I usually save them for the days that I'm working from home. I kind of baby them a little bit. So while I'm doing that, I feel like if I'm gonna do that already, I should just make like a comfier at-home sock anyways and start making DK socks if it works out for me. It would be something that would knit up faster, it'd be a little bit chunkier, easier to gift, and just like fun to wear at home, something that's a little bit thicker. So that's kind of my latest like thoughts and ventures with that. So yeah, that is everything with my winter knitting plans. I have some stockinette projects, but I also have some fun texture with that cabled vest, and hopefully either a color work or another something cabled with what my friends select. And then, yeah, my first ever cardigan. I have a really fun scarf, maybe a more neutral garter wrap, and yeah, I'm really excited about these and all of these pieces. I feel like I'm getting better at selecting things that are gonna work for me, my style, and in my wardrobe. And it's all just a process, right? Like as you continue knitting, you're figuring out the yarns that you like and like what you're willing to put time and effort into, and also what you're going to wear. I've learned over this past year, there's nothing worse than finishing something and really not wearing it. Just kind of feels like a waste of time. So you'll hear more about those thoughts for my next video, where I'm going to talk all about my 2024 year in review. I'm going to go through all of the things that I made and just my thoughts surrounding overall making, and the things I learned through my first year of knitting. I would love to hear what you are most excited to make this winter, so let me know down below. It could be a pattern or maybe a yarn that you're really excited to use. Thank you guys so much, as always, for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.